Welcome, everybody. So it's 2 o'clock, Kim.
Let's go ahead and begin. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to Teach for the Bay. My name is Kim Sakamoto Steidl. I'm the proctor for this meeting, and I'm also a starting point presenter. I'll just share a little bit about myself. I was that kid who sat with dolls and bears in a circle and taught school, pretend school. I love school, and I had teachers who looked out. I felt really safe and had fun at school. And if I didn't, I knew I had someone I could go to. And so I've worked in teacher education for several years and found that there's always a need for good teachers and that there are always people who are interested in teaching. Sometimes the challenge, though, is knowing where to start. And that's what today's workshop is about. I'm going to be able to support you if you have any questions in the chat as we go along. And before you leave, please make sure you drop your evaluation form in the chat. Your comments help to make sure our workshops are informative and useful. So if you could just repeat again, I'm repeating again, please place your name, school, and program in the chat. And we'll go ahead and begin. InJin?
Welcome, everyone. Welcome in, and thank you for joining the starting point session. Our panelists will do a round of introductions. Thanks for starting us off, Kim. Just to share a little bit about me, I am InJin Jun. I'm the Educator Pathway Organizer at the Santa Cruz County Office of Education. I support districts with teacher recruitment and retention, and I also support individuals like you who are interested in becoming teachers to find out how to get started. So just a little bit about me. I didn't always work in education. In fact, my sister and I, when we were really young, years ago, had a small cafe in New York City. And when I started having a growing family, I started volunteering a lot at our local school. And through that, I got a part-time job for a summer program, and I just fell in love. It was very energizing for me. And so when we moved out to California, working at the Santa Cruz County Office of Education, we have so many colleagues and peers here who are so passionate about the work that they do and the impact that they make on our future generations. And that really fuels my work and part of the reason why I want to build a hub of resources for folks like you who want to connect the dots through the vast network of opportunities that's in store for you. So thank you for being here. Scott?
Hi, my name is Scott Mean-Hill. I'm the Senior HR Analyst here at the Santa Cruz County Office of Education. So I actually, kind of like InJin, didn't start in education, but it's really interesting that my family is so involved in education. My grandfather actually was a deputy superintendent here at the Santa Cruz County Office of Education. Both my parents worked for a local district. My mom in the food services department, my dad in maintenance. And then about 18 years ago, I started working here at the county office. My sister ended up working here at the county office. Her husband works here at the county office. My husband works here at the county office. And then my niece now also works at the county office. So we love the county office of education. We love education. And we really like helping people. And one of my favorite parts of the job, I do a lot of short-term staff permits or provisional intern permits, which are kind of the entry-level permit to get somebody into the classroom, and really applying for those and getting people in the classroom is really one of the highlights of the year, and just seeing how excited people are to get into the classroom. So hopefully one day I'll be seeing some of you in my office and helping you with some permitting. So thank you so much.
Hi, I'm Shauna Gannon. I'm the Coordinator of Admissions and Recruitment and the Credential Counselor at CSU Monterey Bay. And I work with all the students who are looking for careers in education, going into teaching credential programs and Masters of Arts in Education programs, and going for different credentials in education and trying to figure out what the best pathway is for them. And I work also with our students when they're first coming in to liberal studies and our other majors to help make sure that they're on the right track all the way through college and they don't get off track and have trouble finding their way through to get to the credential program at the end. My journey with education is I was on the pathway to becoming a teacher. I always knew I wanted to work in education. And as I was on that pathway, I found myself more drawn to working with the other students in the credential program and helping them sort things out as we went through. And so I switched gears and I went into educational counseling. And now I'm the counselor here at CSUMB in the same program that I was going through originally.
Hi, everyone. My name is Phoebe Al-Young. I'm one of the education career counselors at the Commission on Teacher Credentialing, which is the state agency that issues credentials and permits for public school teaching in California. I got started, well, like some of the other people on this panel, I didn't initially plan to go into education, but I've always volunteered a lot with youth. And so it made a lot of sense when I got a job at my school district in where I lived. And so I ended up working as a credential analyst for 5 years at that district before transitioning to work at the CTC. And so my job, I do a lot of talking to people aspiring to be teachers and telling them the different credential pathways and how they can become a fully credentialed teacher. It's nice to be here with everyone.
Hi, my name is Nick Newman. I'm also, just like Phoebe, one of the education career counselors for the Commission on Teacher Credentialing. Before this, I actually was a high school social science teacher and got my credential. So I'm very familiar with the pathway of how going about getting your credential and every nuance that comes along with that.
Hello, everybody. My name is Karen Scher. I serve as the Director of Teacher Recruitment for the California Department of Education. And my pathway to teaching, I think InJin and I have like a similar story in that, you know, I self-identified as a teacher very early on and pursued that pathway and spent 30 years in the classroom teaching middle school language arts. I also have been adjunct professor at Cal State Channel Islands and Santa Barbara City College, and am really excited to work with all of you who might have questions about how to become a teacher, what it's like to be a teacher, and navigating the process. So my office is here as a resource to anyone who has questions or needs assistance along the way. I'm happy to be here with all of you.
Thank you all for the introduction and sharing your story. So all of us are here to help you find various ways to getting to the pathway that is right for you. And we know that it's not easy. One second. And part of our guidance is that we want to provide a plan and help you find ways to strategize in your approach to becoming a credentialed teacher, if that is the path that you're taking. And also understanding that decisions and actions are yours to make, but to achieve success in your decision and your action plan, no one person can do it alone. And we are all here in this space to help guide and be quality support and build a community of practice for you to learn from and also to lean on. And so again, you know, I want to just reiterate that it's never too early if you're a high schooler out there to start exploring career paths. And I also want to highlight, if you're a career changer, it's not ever too late to start something new, to level up on your career options. And, you know, we know from experience in the field that many teachers often become future leaders. So what are some of the jobs out there in education? It's not just teaching, as you have seen from our panel. And if you're good at tech, if you're creative, if you're really analytical, if you're super great at finances, those are some of the other jobs that are available in the education ecosystem, as well as becoming a classroom teacher. There's early education teachers, there's teacher's aide if you want to get your foot in the door and get started. There's instructional aid opportunities and paraprofessionals for just becoming accustomed to being in the classroom if you want to have a starting point. And then, of course, there are higher education institutes where you can teach the teachers. You can become, like Karen, a professor, a faculty member like Kim at a university or your community college. And so how do you find your jobs in education? Well, one of the best search engines for job opportunities is called Edjoin. If you are not already aware, it's one of the highest utilized job search engine for the field in education. Nearly almost all districts and community colleges post job opportunities on Edjoin. And so we will share all the slides after this session. You will have all the resources and the links that are attached to the slides. So you'll get that as well. But there's also job opportunities posted on CalJobs, which is hosted by California. And also Career One Stop is a national database and resource hub that is sponsored by the Department of Labor, the US Department of Labor. And they also have assessment guides and industry training opportunities, webinars, and a whole host of different resources to get you more accustomed to learning about the education sector, as well as just doing kind of like self-assessment and learning more about yourself and what your interests might be. And I also want to highlight that if you know of a specific school district, maybe your local district that you really want to work for, you can always go to their website, school website as well. They always host put on their website job posting under HR, or you can do a search. So you have that option as well. So what is the salary of a beginning teacher? And this is just one example based on the Santa Cruz County Office of Education salary schedule for 2024. A beginning teacher will make just a little shy of $60,000 a year, but that comes with the best health benefit and retirement pension plan. So you cannot discount the value of having the best health and wellness benefit, as well as pension. You know, not many corporate they might have 401ks and stuff like that, but this pension is guaranteed. So that's a real big amenity. And then if you're a veteran teacher, you can earn well above $109,000. So that's just one of the points that I really wanted to kind of highlight. And then you will learn from our panelists, and John Dewey said it best, that education is not preparation for life, but education is life itself. So let's begin our journey.
Thank you so much, InJin. So we're starting our journey at community college, and it's so wonderful to see everyone from City College of San Francisco, Diablo Valley, Gonzales High CTE, Cabrillo from Australia. Well, thank you so much for joining us. So exciting. And we'd like to just talk a little bit about what we're doing in Santa Cruz County, and then you can apply these same processes to your own area. And if you ever feel like you need to reach out, please feel free to do so, and we'll help to connect you with the educator preparation programs in your area. So first of all, I want to talk a little bit about a grow your own approach. And we use what they call a grow your own pathway to reach out to area students to enter the education profession and teach in local communities. And so this approach helps us to ensure that we have a diverse teacher workforce responsive to the needs of the students, their families, and our communities. And earlier, InJin was speaking about establishing this community of practice, and this working in communities, working together, getting to know one another, it helps us to improve our practice and make the changes necessary to help make sure that students in our elementary, secondary schools, and higher ed have strong pathways to careers in education and beyond. And so also, we have both CSU and UC credential pathways. 55% of students who earn a teaching credential at the Cal State University, in the Cal State University system, begin their path to teaching at community college. CSU campuses work closely with community colleges to prepare future teachers, like the relationship we have with Cabrillo to CSUMB. We also have those same agreements with other programs and universities. And so it's worth stopping to find out, like, what are those different options and weighing those out for yourself. You can complete your lower division coursework and transfer with an associate degree to a CSU now with these university agreements. And it makes for a more affordable pathway and a pathway that you can do more in your own time. There are different types of also financial aid available. A pro tip is make sure that you go to see the financial aid office counselor early and just keep monitoring your loans and your grants. It's something that that can help you find out about new opportunities that are coming your way. Next slide, please. I think we go back, maybe. Maybe one more. There we go. I wanted to just highlight a couple of the programs we offer at Cabrillo, and one is transitional kindergarten. It's an emerging sector. For just the Bay Area, there will be a need for 2,500 Bay Area TK teachers and teaching assistants. You may have already heard about TK. It's the school-based program that's being rolled out for all 4-year-olds. At Cabrillo, we offer 2 certificates. We offer a TK certificate for early childhood educators who are interested in teaching in a elementary setting. And we also offer a certificate for already credentialed elementary teachers to work in the transitional kindergarten classroom. And if you'd like to hear more about those job sectors and what the outlook looks like, you can go to this sector profile produced by the Bay Area Community College System and San Francisco research group. And there's also that information on the last slide. Next is we also offer a teaching assistant apprenticeship in collaboration with San Jose City College and Hartnell College. This is an opportunity to not just learn how to become a teaching assistant, but to continue to advance in your job, but also to start planning for a career. So what are the features? It's earn and learn, so you get a progressive wage, a guaranteed starting living wage. And you get mentoring and professional growth support, someone to check in with, talk about your pathway, talk about the different career options in your field. And if you're interested in looking at other fields, we also provide that for you as well. You receive academic credit towards certificates and degrees. And for the Cabrillo College apprenticeship, we are pending registration with the Department of Apprenticeship services, and we also have a we also have our standards approved by the U.S. Department of Labor. And one bonus is you get free tuition for the apprenticeship courses that you take. Okay, thank you. Next. And the last slide is just looking at the big, we call them the big steps, or the main chunks that you have to go through when you're in the community college and you're transferring to a Cal State or a UC. This is just one example where you can get your transfer degree and then move forward to the Cal State University, get your BA, and then your credential. There are many different sub pathways to achieving this goal, but these are just the big basic steps. And with that, we'll go ahead and move on to, I'm sorry,
To me.
sorry, to Scott, yes.
Yeah. Thank you, Kim. Yeah, so one of the things that I just wanted to highlight are some of the resources that are available, not just at the Santa Cruz County Office of Education, but really at most county offices of education throughout the state. So many of the things that I'm going to be talking about, I see that we do have quite a few individuals from across the state that you can really probably reach out to your local county office of education and get some help with some of these items that I'm going to be going over. As other people have mentioned, teaching is not the only aspect of being an educator. One of the things that we here at the County Office of Education have, and most other schools, districts have, is we have instructional assistants who help the teacher out. It's kind of our entry-level position for individuals interested in becoming a teacher, helping students out. We have special education and alternative education programs here at the county office. The minimum requirements are a high school diploma, also either 48 units of college coursework, passing a local basic skills exam. And we also allow for substitute instructional aids, which allows people to be going to school while they're working and making some money. Here at the county office, our hourly rates for instructional aids range between $25 to about $31. And then the longer that you're here, that could even go up with some longevity bonuses and things like that. One of the other things that we do here at the county office is we assist people with their 30-day substitute teaching permit. We do direct recommendations with the commission. And so usually those permits are issued within 2 to 4 days, as opposed to sending an application off yourself through the mail. And that processing time can take 2 to 4 months. So really, if you're looking to get a substitute teaching permit, I really recommend that you reach out to your county office of education and have them help you with that. You may have heard that the basic skills requirement is no longer needed for anybody that has a bachelor's degree. So if you have a bachelor's degree, you can go ahead and apply for a substitute teaching permit. Go ahead, next slide. Here at the county office, we also are the holders of the substitute teaching list for the county. We are what's called a consortium, and so you can register once with the County Office of Education and be able to sub in any of the 11 districts throughout Santa Cruz County. I know that's not the case for every single county, but that is how we're set up here in Santa Cruz. Each district will be paying different rates, usually between $130 a day and $170 a day. The other advantage of being on the substitute teaching list is that you can actually start putting money into that pension program called CalSTRS that InJin was talking about earlier. And if you decide to stay in education, when you retire, you're going to be getting a check for life for, depending on how long you've worked and how many service credit years you've had. The other thing that I kind of wanted to highlight for the county offices of education are some of the credentialing services. I've already talked about substitute teaching permits, but they can also help apply for some of the emergency permits that would allow you to be the teacher of record, like a provisional intern permit or a short-term staff permit. Or if a school is wanting you to cover a long-term leave for an employee who's out, we can help with temporary permit of statutory leave, which allows you to be the teacher of record for more than 30 days. We also help individuals who are out of state, outside of the US. We also help guide people with private school experience on their pathway to become credentialed. We also can help out with adding content areas on either additional single subject credentials or adding a multiple subject. We also help with processing child development permits, career technical education if you're not wanting to be in a single subject classroom or a multiple subject classroom. And then we also help clear credentials after you've completed induction. So there's a lot of good resources at your local county office of education that, you know, if you're not sure where to go, I would definitely recommend reaching out because there's probably somebody there who can help guide you. And I know the CTC is also going to talk about their resources, and they're a great resource to reach out to if you're unsure of what to do. So thank you so much.
Okay, so I'm going to talk a little bit about your local CSU. CSU Monterey Bay is our local CSU. We offer teaching credentials for elementary, secondary, and special education. Elementary, for those of you just getting started, is in that multiple subject setting where you are teaching one classroom with multiple subjects throughout the day. Secondary is going to be teaching one single subject throughout the day to different groups of students throughout the day. So that's usually junior high and high school setting. But a multiple subject credential is kind of interesting because you actually can teach in a middle school or junior high setting as long as you teach 2 different subjects throughout that day to honor the nature of your credential. We also offer special education for mild, moderate support needs and extensive support needs. And that really has to do with the demographic of students that you're working with and the level of need that they have. We also have the PPS credentials, and those are the People Personnel Services credentials for those who are not working who are working with students but not working directly as classroom teachers. So that's going to be for school psychologists, school social workers, and school counselors. Move on to the next one. And this looks a little bit like Kim's chart. It's very similar. You're going to start with your general ed, either at CSUMB or transferring in from a community college. And in those first years, you're going to do your volunteering and your service learning so that you start getting experiences working with youth and children, because we want to make sure this is a good fit for you. To get into a credential program, you need about 45 hours of experience with youth and children. And you want to start that right away in your freshman, sophomore year or before you transfer. Then you're going to get into your upper division coursework, and you're going to want to major in the subject area that aligns with what you're going to teach. One of the reasons for that is if your subject area aligns with what you're going to teach, or if we have a waiver pathway in that subject area for a teaching program, you do not have to take the CSET exam at the end of your program before you start a credential, which is a really nice bonus for you. That's why advising or early counseling is so important, because if you can make the right choices going through the program, you will have less tests and exams and things to prepare for as you enter your final year, which is the credential program. At most CSUs and most of California, traditionally credentialing has been post-bac. So in other states, it might be during your bachelor's degree, but in California, you can do your teaching credential after you've gotten your bachelor's degree. And it can take 1 to 2 years, depending on whether you add a master's degree. At CSUMB, we do offer the teaching credential with the bachelor's degree for elementary and for special ed and for science. So we do have some pathways that do that, but most of our students do end up taking that credential post-bac. And that usually, again, takes 1 to 2 years. And you do all of your student teaching during that time, and you do your final teacher performance assessment, because while you go through a credential program, you're not guaranteed a credential until you pass that final performance assessment and all of your classes. For those of you who already have your bachelor's degree and you didn't major in the area that you want to teach, you still can get into a credential program. You just need to take that CSET examination before you apply. And we offer a number of very exciting pathways at CSUMB. And if you look at all the CSUs throughout the system, you're going to see similar offerings for different pathways. One of our pathways is our teacher partnership pathway, which works with our local community colleges like Hartnell, MPC, and Cabrillo, where you do your first 2 years there. You're on a teaching pathway, so you're taking all the correct prereqs you need to go right into a liberal studies program or another teaching major. Those pathways are 2 years to start at the community college, then 2 years at CSUMB, and then 1 year to finish out your teaching credential. You can actually do an integrated pathway and make it 4 years altogether if you are getting an elementary or a special ed credential, because those pathways allow you to do what's called an integrated BA or BS plus credential. That's our second pathway that we offer at CSUMB, and that's for those of you still getting your bachelor's degree and looking to do your credential and your bachelor's degree in the quickest amount of time. So it takes 4 years altogether. The first year is your general education. The first 2 years, the second 2 years are the third year is in your major area of liberal studies or science. And then your third year is the teaching credential program. So your senior year actually takes the place of a teacher credential program, allowing you to graduate with your credential and your bachelor's degree all at the same time. Other than that, we have our traditional 1 year co-teaching pathway for elementary and secondary. So it's just 1 more year after your bachelor's degree. And 2 years if you're doing special education takes a little longer. And then we have the internship pathway, which is really nice because that's for those of you who did work on those PIP and STIP temporary permits for a little while, or you worked as a substitute teacher, because this pathway lets you go right into the classroom. So you're teaching full time while you go through the program. It's a 2 year pathway. You have classes with us in the evening. And the classes are all online, or not all online, sorry, all hybrid. So you only have to come in every other week for your classes. And we only see you on campus probably 1 or 2 nights a week because you're a working teacher. You're working full time. We don't want to kill you. We want to make sure this is a positive experience. And we spend a lot of time choosing how long our pathways are going to be. And you're going to see that a lot of internship programs vary in how long they are. They can be 1.5 years. They can be 2 years. And we decided to stick with the 2 year model at CSUMB because we felt like that one gave the most support to the students as they went through. We also offer a master's plus credential, and that's a master's of arts in education and a teaching credential combined in 2 years. So you have master's classes blended in your first year. You finish your you finish your credential after the first year, and the second year is all master's classes in the evening, and those can be done online. So you can actually start teaching in that second year. So even though it's a 2 year program, you get your credentialing done in the first year, so you can start earning again in your second year. Okay, so what we do at CSUMB is called co-teaching. You're going to look around at schools, and it's important to look at all the different CSUs, all of the different colleges you're interested in, and see if there's prerequisites to get into teaching credentials. That's the first thing. Some require coursework ahead of time. We don't. We have a summer start that incorporates that. And then what kind of field placement do they do? Are you doing a traditional model where all your field placement is in the second semester? Are you doing a model where you do some observation in the first semester and then you move into field placement in the second semester? Or are you doing a co-teaching model? It just depends what's the best fit for you. I personally think co-teaching is the best one I've seen because it's a full year of placement out in school. You get to see every aspect of the school year. So you start on the very first day of school with your co-teacher. You've already started classes in the summer, so you have a little classroom management and a little lesson planning under your belt. So we don't throw you out there totally green. And you get to slowly progress into teaching and doing solo teaching and doing pull-out and working one-on-one with students until finally you're doing your teaching full days in your second semester. So by the time you have your own classroom, you are so ready to teach. You've seen everything and you know how you want to do it because you just did it somebody else's way, for one thing. But you also don't have that fear and that anxiety about what it's going to be like when the kids come back from testing, what it's going to be like when they come back after break. How do I prepare for parent-teacher meetings? You're going to have been through all those aspects. Because that's a lot to ask from you, it's only 4 days a week. And it's half days from the beginning of the day till about noon, because we don't want to overstretch you, and make sure you have time for your studying and to take your classes at CSUMB. We want to make sure that you're gradually stepping into your responsibilities in the classroom. So our clinical coaches come out to see you in your classroom setting throughout the year and make sure that your teacher and you are working well together, that you're getting to do the things you need to, and that you're not doing the things you're not ready for yet. It's a very collaborative process, and it is pretty much the model where you are in residency at that school for the full year. And we have a number of scholarships and grants that go along with that model that are really useful to you to help pay, because it is a little difficult to work when you're out there full time doing your co-teaching. And we know that that's a little bit of a stretch for our students. And that's part of why our classes are in the evening and they're hybrid, because we don't want to drag you to campus every single night. You're still on campus 2 to 3 nights a week. Then you have asynchronous coursework to do. But we really want to make this a positive experience for you, and you get to practice everything you're learning in classes as you go through the program in real time out there in the field. Okay, we also offer the bilingual authorization at CSUMB. So those of you who have thought about teaching in a bilingual setting or in a dual immersion classroom, it's only 3 more classes at the end of your program, and we can place you in a bilingual co-teaching placement with your master teacher if you're interested in that right from the start, so that you can start getting those hours in of experience in a bilingual setting. And this is one of the high need areas right now out in our districts, and we do have a number of residency scholarships and incentives for those going into this pathway as well. Okay, I'm going to talk a little bit, because this is my area, about the pupil personnel services credentials. These are the ones for people who are working with students outside of the classroom setting in other settings, such as school psychologists who come in and they identify obstacles for students. They implement interventions. They do counseling for students and families. They provide community resources. And what they do a lot of is conducting those cognitive assessments and psychoeducational assessments to see if a student has special needs, if a student needs needs to be on an IEP, and they work with the classroom teacher and our special education professionals to put that IEP together for that student to make sure they're getting all of the support that they need. At CSUMB, we have a really hands-on approach where we have our school psychology clinic on campus, so you get to practice running those cognitive assessments with students under the supervision of our faculty. We also have school social work. School social workers help students succeed academically, socially, and emotionally by connecting with schools and families. They support mental health, they promote safe environment, but a lot of what they do is also identifying the barriers. They help identify factors in a student's home, school, and community. So they're looking at the whole picture of the student to see what kind of intervention needs to happen and to develop behavioral plans for the students. And they were really there to advocate for the students as well and to help build up their resistance. Okay, and we do not have this one at CSUMB, but I'm a big fan, is school counseling. School counselors help students with a variety of needs, including academic, social, and career planning. So you will see that academic planning, academic advising aspect to school counseling. All of them have a lot of crossover areas, but what you're going to see is that school counseling is the one that spends more time in career planning, and they also do keep record keeping and reporting, as well as advising and crisis intervention with students. Last but not least, funding. How do you pay for this? So there is a ton of funding out there for people going into credential programs. I'm not going to go over all of these, but there are scholarships and grants. Those of you who are doing your undergrad and your credential together are going to see opportunities to save money by rolling them together and getting full financial aid coverage for your credential program. And then there's also the scholarships and grants like the Teach Grant, the Cal Grant for Teachers, the Golden State Grant, and the Noyce Grant. What you're going to see in a lot of these grant programs, and also in our residency programs, is a teach back aspect. So after you take these grants and scholarships, you often need to teach back either in a specific school district or in a high need school, that they'll give you the list of schools that qualify, and then you have to teach for a certain amount of years. Some of them you can use one grant, you can get multiple grants and teach back at the same school in the same years to cover more than one of them. It just depends on how the funding's allocated.
Okay, hello everyone. So again, I'm Phoebe. I'm with the California Commission on Teacher Credentialing, and my colleague Nick is here as well. Again, we're the commission, also known as the CTC, and we're the licensing agency for teaching and services in public K through 12 schools in California. So beginning in 2023, a team of education career counselors at the commission was created to provide email, phone, and video support to those interested in the teaching profession. And so Nick and I are both career counselors on that team. And so we're here to help aspiring educators who need guidance on how to get credentialed, what guidance on what credential they need, and the overall credentialing process. And so we help also career changers who want to become teachers, educators who are trained in another state or country, and individuals with questions about finding a teaching position, and candidates with questions on paying for a program. Next slide, thank you. So currently the only routes to obtain a teaching credential in California are by transferring a professional level teaching credential from another state or country, or having qualifying experience teaching in private schools, or completing a California Commission approved teacher credentialing. So these pathways are created through statute and regulation, and until there are, if you could stay on that one. So these pathways are created through statute and regulation, and until there are changes in legislation to allow easier or additional options, the commission unfortunately does not have the authority to issue credentials through other avenues apart from what currently exists. So even those who have earned degrees in teaching or education have to complete a teacher credentialing program. So if you've not yet obtained a credential from another state or country, or you don't have experience teaching in private schools, then you need to complete a credentialing program to get a California credential. And then now we can go to the graphic on the next page. So this graphic illustrates the process of obtaining a credential through a California teacher credentialing program. And this graphic and other helpful resources that we've created to explain the whole process can all be found on the Roadmap to Teaching pages on our website. So if you're interested in becoming a teacher, we highly recommend that you check these out, as many of the things we'll be talking about in this portion of the presentation are further explained on our web pages. So on this graphic, the first step is to decide what you want to teach. What subject or grade level do you want to teach? This will determine which credential you need and therefore what your options are as far as programs you can enroll in. The second step would be to choose a pathway. There are 4 pathways that exist in California, each with its own structure and philosophy of the best way to train a teacher. How long your program takes will also depend on what pathway you choose, and we'll provide more information on the types of pathways later. The third step is to research programs and enroll in the one that works best for you. There are many types of programs in the states, which vary greatly, as will the quality of the program and the level of support you receive as a candidate of that program. When it comes to choosing a program, there is no one best option. What works for you might not work for someone else. So it's important to do your research to make sure you're making an informed choice before you enroll. The fourth step is to complete the coursework in your program and all other program requirements, such as your teaching performance assessment and any exams you need to take. Once you're enrolled in a program, your advisor will guide you in completing all your requirements and can explain what you need to complete and when. After you've completed the program and met all the requirements, your program will recommend you to the commission for your preliminary credential. This is the professional level license that is valid for 5 years, and you can begin teaching with this credential. Then the last step would be to complete induction. Induction is a 2-year program that provides you with mentoring and support as a new teacher and is usually offered in cooperation with your employing school district. Once you've completed induction, your induction program will recommend you to the commission for your clear credential, which is the final level of credential and can be renewed every 5 years. Once you've cleared your credential, you don't need to complete any additional requirements after that. However, many teachers will go on to add additional subjects to their credentials or pursue other types of credentials, such as the administrative services credential, which is needed for administrative positions like principal or assistant principal. Next slide, please. Okay, and so as I mentioned earlier, there are 4 program pathways in California: residency, traditional, integrated, undergraduate, and intern. The first 3, traditional, intern, and residency, are all post-baccalaureate. They require you to already have your bachelor's degree before you start your credentialing program. The last one, the integrated undergraduate pathway, is the only one in which you can earn your bachelor's degree and a credential through the same program. So for any of our attendees out there who don't have their bachelor's degree yet, this is one option that you can consider if you want to kind of fold it all in and get your bachelor's and your credentials in the same program. And now I'll hand it over to my colleague, Nick, to go a little bit more in depth about each of the pathways.
Hi, yeah, so I will go over the 4 pathways here to kind of clarify kind of a synopsis, very quick, of each pathway. The first is the traditional pathway. I'm very familiar because that is the pathway that I did for my credential. As Phoebe mentioned, it's post-baccalaureate. It's full-time. It will vary in the length. Some programs it may be as quick as a year. Some programs may be 2 years. The format, there's different options. Some of them require you to be in person. Some may be only virtual. Some may be hybrid. It just depends, once again, like Phoebe mentioned, comparing and contrasting the programs to find out what fits your schedule, your learning style, all of that's the best. There are opportunities to earn a master's. I'll pull on my personal experience. I did the traditional pathway and earned a master's after. It was a couple more courses, but that's what the program I did offered. There's many options throughout the state. You can go on our website and see all the approved commission programs. The traditional pathway has the most out of any, I would say, just because it's very kind of straightforward. And it's less hands-on and it's kind of at your own pace than the other pathways. Next slide, please. The next is the intern pathway. This has been mentioned a couple times already, but you'll be the teacher of record in that classroom while you complete the program. As they mentioned for CSU Monterey Bay, you teach in the morning, your classes at night, it alternates. Once again, that's just one example of how the intern pathway will work. Most intern pathways are 2-year programs. Some may be less. It will just depend, once again, working with the program. Did you meet all the prerequisites, the coursework, etc.? There are 2 types of intern programs. There's a university intern, which is done through a university, say, a CSU, a UC, or a district intern, which is done at the district level, typically through a county office of education. And things you want to consider if you decide to go the intern pathway is not every credential subject is available when it comes to intern. It's really about the employment needs at the given district or the given county. So, I'd love to get a single subject, intern in social science. Well, maybe the district that you're looking at doesn't have a need in social science. So just take that into consideration. The teaching position you will teach during the day, you will actually, from the commission, the CTC, you'll earn what we call an intern credential first. You'll actually have that on record because you have to have that to be the teacher of record, and then you'll do your coursework hand in hand. And you get a little bit more hands-on with this than the traditional pathway. So a lot of teachers that start the intern pathway typically stick in the profession till they retire because they got very good hands-on learning experience through this pathway. The residency pathway is, once again, it's similar to the intern, but a little bit different. You're going to teach alongside an experienced teacher while completing the coursework to earn your preliminary credential. And once again, this can be about 1 to 2 years, but you really have that mentor teacher pulling on that experience, and it's really helping you guide you through that program, seeing what teaching is like. One of the things that not to discourage you, if you want the traditional pathway, that's great. I wish I had a little bit more of experience while doing the program, seeing what day in, day out of teaching was like. Some things to consider is you'll receive some financial support to cover the tuition and expenses through the residency program. There's a service commitment. Basically, if you decide to do the residency program through a county or a district, they want a commitment, usually 3 to 5 years that you're going to stay with that employer for that long. And if you don't complete that program, you will have to reimburse that financial support that you receive. So just be aware of that. And then the final pathway is the integrated undergrad pathway, where you'll be earning your bachelor's and the teaching credential at the same time. Usually takes 4 to 5 years to complete. I did something similar to this called a subject matter program at Sac State so that I could waive the CSETs. The integrated undergrad pathway is much more intense as you'll be doing things simultaneously. Some things to consider: less likely to leave the profession than those who start in a different pathway because you have committed so much time in your undergraduate coursework to earning that teaching credential. Some integrated pathways, you have the opportunity to earn a master's. and you can save a lot of time and money by earning your bachelor's and the credential at the same time. A lot of questions we get as career counselors is, how much does this cost? And the programs will vary, and it can depend on how the institution runs the program, whether you're eligible for financial aid. We always recommend contact the programs directly for information, as well as there's definitely a whole bunch of financial resources out there, specifically the financial resources for teacher candidates webpage. Scott mentioned about substitute teaching, some of the requirements. That is one way to get into the teaching profession, just to give substitute teaching a try. All you need to qualify right now is a bachelor's degree. You can even start without a bachelor's degree. There's a substitute permit called the Substitute Teaching Permit for Prospective Teachers. You just need the following: your enrollment in a four-year California college or university. You have to have taken at least 90 semester units towards a bachelor's degree. And then this one, you do have to meet the basic skills requirement. And it just, if you're unsure about the teaching profession, starting out as a sub can kind of give you an overview of what day-to-day being a teacher is like. And finally, if you want to get in contact with me or Phoebe or another one of us career counselors because you want more information on how going about these programs, any type of credential issue you might run into, if you go to our website at www.ctc.ca.gov on the front page, click the roadmap to teaching, and then click the connect with us on the right sidebar. You can choose a video chat, a phone call, or an email, and you can connect with one of us and have a real direct line and help you navigate this process. And I'm going to turn it over to Karen now.
Hello, everyone. What a wonderful presentation. And I think the slide that you see in front of you is really a representation of all of the things that you have heard about today. And I'm sure there are others that are not listed. But so on the slide, what you're looking at, and you can be provided with PDF versions as well, it are the roadmaps to teaching and the different pathways. So if you want, if you're taking a more traditional route that's been mentioned, like a 4-year plan, I'm not sure if you can make that bigger, InJin. Can you make that a little bit bigger? If you would like a 4-year plan, a 5-year plan, yes, go ahead.
Sorry, it's full screen, so I think I can't make it bigger on my screen.
Okay, we'll make PDF versions available for everybody who would like to have one. When you're looking more closely at the slide, you'll see some of these things are underlined, and everything that's underlined is actually a live link. So you heard today about the Golden State Teacher Grant, for example, which is one of the things that we really like to talk about at the California Department of Education, and really encourage everyone to apply for that $20,000 scholarship that can also be used for someone who would like to pursue a PPS credential, which was mentioned today. And one of the other really important things that a PPS credential would allow you to pursue is a mental health school counselor position. And, my job is to recruit 10,000 new public school teachers and 10,000 mental health school counselors. So my name, my email address is listed on the screen in front of you, as well as a teachinca@cde.ca.gov. That is an email address that if you send an email, you'll probably hear from me as well. So I'm going to have a little video, but let's go to the next slide before I talk. We show the video. As was mentioned today, there are lots of opportunities to teach in California, and what I've provided is more of a United States Department of Education big picture map that shows you comparative salaries around the country, and really even the California Department of Education and even the United States Department of Education is working very hard to tackle the issue of a teacher shortage. So it depends, of course, on where you live and what subject matter you're pursuing, as was mentioned. But special education, mathematics, and science are always
our highest categories of need. So if you're pursuing one of those fields, we're very happy about that. And then just to remind some of you that might not know about Proposition 28, and I'm not going to take too much time talking about it because the links are there, but Proposition 28 passed in 2000 and last election cycle, 2022, I believe. And what that does is it directs money to schools specifically for art and music. 80% of that money that is given to school districts must go towards people. So when we talk about that and how it equates to jobs in specifically art and music programs, some of them have not been developed yet, but in the coming years, the state of California is going to need between 9,000 and 15,000 art and music teachers. So if you have already pursued classes around art and music, I'd really encourage all of you to go to your county office of education and have them review your transcripts, specifically with regard to art and music and what that might, what jobs that might provide for you. Okay, so going back to the other slide. There is a short video that we produced, the California Department of Education produced with the Oxnard Union High School District. And we'd just like to show you to encourage you that really what we're talking about is kids. And being a teacher is a noble profession. It is a wonderful way to spend a career and an honorable way to serve your country. Teachers and credential holders take the same oath of office that other elected officials, the military, all of those people who take an oath of office, we do as well. And so it's a really wonderful way to serve your country and uplift the profession and public schools. So I'll end with that and a short little video with the Oxnard Union High School District kids.
Teachers because I am who I am because of my teachers. You are who you are because of your teachers. Everyone I know is who they are because of their teachers. Teachers are the support that everyone needs, that helping hand to get them to the next step in life. And no one here, no great leader, no great doctor, no great politician, no great astronaut, nobody would be who they are without teachers.
We need you to be a mental health counselor to help provide students with the skills and tools they need to reach their highest potential and be a part of the change.
We need you to be a teacher because having more teachers would benefit student and teacher connections.
We need teachers like you because students like myself consider school to be a second home.
We need teachers because they shape us. They've shaped me, and they've shaped everyone who went out there and made a difference. It would be impossible to overstate the work that teachers do.
We need more teachers because we need to be able, as first-generation students, be able to listen what the American school system is like from those who have experienced it themselves.
As a school resource officer, we need mental health counselors to provide students support with emotional development, ultimately providing a safer community for all of us.
We all have that one teacher who inspired us, who challenged us, who maybe made us angry sometimes, but the one we always respected. You can be that teacher. Please consider joining this most noble profession.
We need you to be a teacher because everyone learns a different way and teachers need to teach in their own way.
We need you to be a mental health counselor because many students deal with mental issues and are afraid to reach out for help. That's usually because they don't have anyone to reach out to. You can change that and you can be that somebody.
We need you to be a mental health school counselor because your compassion, empathy, and warm heart for others is essential to making a nurturing educational environment.
We need teachers who are committed to the truth. We need you at the forefront of our education to ensure that we become the best version of ourselves.
All right, guys, remember, we got a huge task today. We got to recruit some outstanding teachers and mental health specialists for the entire state of California. This is a huge job, and you are the right people for the task. And remember, be impactful, build resilience, and be legendary!
Thank you. And I love that so much. It makes me smile. And just in the chat, I want to also, I didn't put this in my slideshow, and I should have, and I will from now on, but I also want to make you all aware of CTA aspiring educators. And for $30 a year, once you are admitted into a credential program, you can be a part of CTA and aspiring educators. And it actually offers you a lot of benefits that are, on the fun side, and offers you discounts and things like that. But it also offers you some of the same legal protections that are offered and that are guaranteed to teachers in classrooms. So it's a really wonderful way to be a part of your labor organization in an early stage of your career, and all the financial and legal protections that it offers. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you so much for the panelists today, Kim, Scott, Shauna, Phoebe, Nick, and Karen. Thank you so much. And thank you to our audience members for joining us today. I just want to leave you with this quote from Eleanor Roosevelt, that the future belongs to those who believe in the beauty of their dreams. But I also want to say that we want to help you realize your dreams. And sometimes it feels like a box of freshly opened puzzles where you can't see the image. But if you frame the edges and identify your goals, then the pieces will eventually fall into place. And we want to help you with that. So thank you, everybody, for joining. We went 2 minutes over, and we'll share all the resources with you. And the last resource that Karen said about the CTA, we'll also add it to the slide. Thanks all.
And please make sure you complete the evaluation form for the workshop. Kathleen put it in the chat. Thanks so much, everyone.